Hello everyone, this is Sisyphean, and today I'm going to make a bit of a more unorthodox video because I have been getting many questions and I want to share my opinions on this topic. I'm not a mental health professional, this is all just my opinion, and if you feel that you need mental help, you are very encouraged to seek it, okay? So imagine that you and me are on the street and we meet a person that is 500 pounds. Okay, and the person is on a wheelchair and there are actually the person at 500 pounds should be on a huge mattress or something on wheels, and there will be people escorting that person to the hospital. And you stop and you ask the person, like, what happened? How did you end up in this condition? And the person says, well, I have been consuming 20,000 calories a day, eating almost exclusively junk food, candy, and soda. And that's what made me 500 pounds. And then the person leaves with the 10 nurses pushing that mattress on wheels. And I look at you and I'm saying, wow, so this person has been eating 20,000 calories every day and they became 500 pounds. Wow, something must be really wrong with their metabolism, right? Maybe they have hypothyroidism. Have they checked their hypothyroidism? Maybe they don't work out enough. Maybe it's just genetic. They must be having a genetically low metabolism, right? Then you're going to say, Persephone, have you finally gotten Alzheimer's? The person said that they are eating 20,000 calories every day. So why are you looking for elaborate explanations? There is a simple cause and effect. You eat all day, you become obese, right? So in a similar way, I get contacted by people who are telling me, I'm extremely depressed. What can I do to get out of my depression, Persephone? Please tell me. I watched X, Y, Z video of yours and you say you're no longer depressed, you're no longer unmotivated. What did you do? And those people come from OnlyFans. I'm making this clear. I'm not chatting up randoms all day. I have things to do. But for the people who actually take the time to support me financially, I'm going to, of course, take the extra mile. So I'm asking questions to those people, trying to get to know them, and then the person casually mentions, hey, so my mother, who has been molesting me all of my life, still lives with me and nags me 24/7. Or the person says, hey, I live in extreme poverty and I have been forced to perform sex acts against my will to keep a roof over my head. Or the person says, hey, I come from a culture that I have been abused and I'm going to be stoned to death if I speak up. And I can't speak up, I live in shame and I can't go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. But Persephone, what can I do about my depression? The problem is me, right? Do you think I'm genetically depressed? I have to be honest here. It's the same thing as me saying, why is the person who eats 20,000 calories every day not getting thinner? It must be their metabolism. Your problem and your inability or difficulty to change your life, you think that it stems from your depression, but it doesn't. Your depression is a result of the horrific abuse that has been happening in your life for years and is still happening. I'm going to tell you one thing that I learned from my own life. I've been to so many different types of therapy ever since I was a kid, like family therapy, individual therapy, therapy for autistic people, group therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is, in my opinion, the best therapy. And like, if you have named it, I've done it most likely. And only one or two people addressed the fact that I was still living with my extremely abusive, extremely toxic, extremely sabotaging mother. And I believe that it's time we start put responsibility where it truly belongs, to your abuser. Your ongoing abuse is the reason you are depressed, you are unmotivated, you are failing, you're afraid, you are poor, and all of that stuff that you want to change. The same way there is cause and effect, and if you eat 20,000 calories every day, you're going to be obese. If you're being treated like a human punching bag all day, you're going to be depressed. It's natural and your body's way of responding to the abuse. So stop demonizing depression, because do you know what happens when you're constantly abused and you're not depressed? What happened to me? It becomes psychosomatic and you develop a myriad of somatic illnesses that they are, again, your body's way of telling you you need to get the fuck out of there ASAP because you're going to die. So I'm going to say it here. I'm not going to share it on OnlyFans because many people need it, so it should be free. What you need to do and what worked for me and got me out, and it's going to work for you and get you out. Thing number one, accept the problem. The problem is that you are being abused right now. If you're watching this video, I don't care if you're in an abusive relationship. I don't care if you're in an abusive friendship, in an abusive domestic situation with parents, relatives, abusive workplace, even being in a God-forsaken town with no prospects, where you see the same 5 people and 2 chicken and a cow, and everyone is telling you to suck it up, that's also abuse. Accept that there is some abuse going on. And that abuse, you cannot heal from it when it's ongoing, when it happens every day. You have to be able to take breaks from it. But the first and most important step is identifying the problem. I say that because for people coming from religious backgrounds or toxic cultural backgrounds, Asian culture, it's very difficult to accept that the person who has been raising them or the person they married could be their enemy, because they are our enemy. They are destroying you to feed off of you, similar to parasites. They're psychic parasites. I'm not going to call them emotional vampires, because a vampire is something erotic and hot and powerful. Well, there is nothing powerful when someone is destroying their own child or their own spouse for their own convenience. So, first step, you accept you're abused. Step number 2, you accept that you are not a loser, but you are actually experiencing the effects of abuse. Depression, lack of motivation, hopelessness, despair. In many cases, you could even be losing in life and failing because there is sabotage. If you want, you can watch my video White Elephants about all the ways my family used to sabotage me, and I can tell you I failed thousands of times with people actually trying to mess up my business and mess up my life, so I'm complacent and around. Thing number 3, hardest step. Depression is essentially anger that turned on the inside. You can't fight, or you have lost the will to fight, and you become angry, and that anger has to manifest somehow, and it manifests against you. You have to get angry. This is difficult. Not everyone can do it, but I believe that with practice and with journaling and with effort, I'm going to share many techniques, you can do it. It's also dangerous in the sense of, at first, when you first start to realize what happened to you, the anger can be so strong. There was a time when I punched a wall and I almost broke. I had like a bruised fist for over a month. It's a miracle I didn't break my bones. And if my mother was around, she wouldn't have a head right now. I'm sorry if that sounds fucked up. She wouldn't have. I would be punching her until her head became like jelly. So, how do you get angry? You educate yourself on narcissism, on abuse, on psychopaths. I have lots of books on my Amazon store. You can check, or you can just type. I also recommend Dr. Sam Vaknin's videos. Just type narcissism, psychopathy, toxic parents, toxic relationships, and read whatever material applies to you. Everything is useful, better than living in confusion and trapped. You're going to realize sooner or later that a lot of those things happen to you. You take a notepad, you open a notepad in your computer, or if you prefer the traditional notebook and pen route, I do both. You write down what happened to you. It doesn't have to be an essay. Punctuation doesn't matter, spelling doesn't matter, you write down what happened to you. If it becomes overwhelming, you take breaks. You allow yourself to feel every feeling. You are angry, you write it down. You're sad, you write it down. You're upset, you write it down. You want to scream, you write it down. I strongly encourage doing all of this in secret when the abuser is out of the house or when the abuser is asleep. You do not want them to find out that you're out of the matrix, that your eyes are opened. Then, the next day or a few days after that, or when you feel ready, you reread what happened to you. And you're going to start getting angry. It's better if you combine all of that with slowly eating healthier and exercising as much as you can. Okay, baby steps. I'm not going to insist too much on this one. It could even be something as small as you're not going to eat any fruit. You eat one fruit, or you go for a small walk around the block with safety masks on and everything. once you start to get angry, the next step that worked for me is getting petty. You need a reason. You need something to channel the anger into productivity, no matter how petty. And this was a thing that I experimented with myself. I used myself as a guinea pig, and it brought tremendous results. To use a practical example, my mother used to always call me ugly and used to always abuse me, like force feed me. I have stories where she gave me candy that it was in fact chocolate laxatives that she was taking like many times, abuse me, give me clothes that they were too small or too inappropriate or her own old clothes. And I had a terrible image when it comes to how I look, like not just body dysmorphia, way worse than that. So I told myself, what does he hate the most? Most narcissists hate it if you look good. By good, I mean healthy according to what your doctor says about you specifically. If it's not healthy, it's not sexy. If you don't know, it's good to save up money and go do a checkup if you don't have any insurance to find out what's your ideal weight and your ideal like BMI and all of that stuff. One time and then you will know. If you don't have money even for that, that's okay. Aim to look the best you can and the healthiest you can. Because anorexia is a lifelong condition, I identify as an anorexic in recovery because that can change. You know, it's like alcoholism, it's like so many other problems. Every time that I'm stressed, my automatic response is to not eat. And then I would start self-talk to piss myself off and tell myself, okay, you're not going to eat. And then the bitch is going to see you and she's going to say, oh, you look like a skeleton. You're so ugly. And she would look at me and say to my father, see, she's so troubled. I told you she needs to see a specialist again. What's happening? Are you on crack? Are you on heroin? Are you prostituting to get crack and heroin? And then she would call my aunt and she would say, yeah, Persephone's a prostitute again. Must be the crack. I kid you not, the entire family thinks that I am a prostitute who buys crack with the money ever since I was 15. When I was a virgin and I wasn't even allowed to go out of the house to go to the supermarket across the street. She's that crazy. We are talking about the smear campaign like that. So every time I would be tempting to self-harm, I would say to myself, nope, you are going to eat healthy, you're going to even buy a salad if you can't cook it, and you're going to eat it. And tell me what is going to happen when she sees you. Write it on your diary. And I had diary entries that I said she was so pissed. She was so pissed that she didn't have anything bad to say about my body, and she started insulting my clothes and saying, you're wearing this pathetic autistic uniform again. Why are your clothes always just one color? Why can't you just wear glitter clothes? Why can't you just wear flowery clothes? Why are you this person? And she would say, you know, you just need to throw your clothes away and allow me to buy you gender appropriate clothes. And she would say those things to piss me off because she knew that because I have Asperger's, sensory overload is very big of a problem for me. So I'm trying to not have too many patterns around me, especially glitter and things like that. I can stand them, especially in my clothes. So I would think about myself, yeah, keep yapping, keep barking, because that's all you can do, because I'm not 90 pounds. So in a similar way, you can find what works for you. If you don't know, let me tell you, narcissists hate it when you look good and healthy, when you make money, when you have career success, and when you're happy. It's a pipe dream to be happy when you're being abused. But I'm telling you, every time you get that and you get something done, no matter how small, it is a hit in their abuse and their face and their bullshit. And even if it feels like it's very small, 1,000 hits later and you're going to be out and they're going to be there to eat their own guts and die, like the imbeciles that they are. So be angry and be petty. I don't care what any religion says that you shouldn't be petty. I don't care about anything neurotypical people say about, oh, you should work for you should aim for self-development. If I was waiting for myself from 5 years ago to aim for self-development, this channel couldn't even exist. This channel was named Revenge Star because I had a revenge list that still exists, but a lot of those people have actually had karma hitting them because they're a pathetic piece of shit, so it's very difficult for me to get revenge now. And I started to prove people wrong. So Would you have preferred it if I took the fake path of, oh, I'm the better person, and this channel never existed? I don't think so. I think it's better if you get up and do something rather than focus on morals, that morals are a luxury. Not everyone can afford them. There are a lot of people who say to me, why do you encourage people to be sex workers with your channel? Why don't you encourage them to get a normal job? And I told to one of those pathetic men recently, I told him, you're asking the wrong question. And he said, what do you mean? And I told him, for many of the people who become sex workers, the question, the dilemma isn't sex work or normal work. The question is sex work or starvation, sex work or homelessness, sex work or death, sex work or being beaten up and choked and pantsed. And to the people who are going to say just go to a shelter, bro, I'm going to tell you that in many shelters, they keep you for 3 months and then they kick you out because they are overwhelmed and they need to accept more people, new people. Or you're going to be with drug addicts or be people who may rob you or rape you if you're a woman. And if you have read statistics that I have read, and I'm going to spare you the misery, the most dangerous times when you leave an abusive relationship are when you have left and the abuser is searching for you, and when you come back defeated. The end goal of most abusive relationships, and by relationships I don't mean necessarily romantic, I mean any kind of relationship with an abuser, most people die. You may not like it, you may not want to hear it, I don't care if you're a normie, get the fuck out of my channel if you don't like the truth. We are talking the black pill here. How the world really is, not what you tell yourself to sleep at night and feel like a good person. So imagine you left an abuser and you made it to the shelter, and 3 months later they kick you out of the shelter and you have to be homeless in the times of a pandemic, or you have to go back to your abusers. Let me tell you something. I don't know about other people's situation. I know that if I went back to my mother when I was 17 or 18, she would have killed me this time. She would have found a way to either poison me or push me down the stairs, or even hire someone to hurt me and make it look like an accident. So it's better to not talk and advise people when you come from a first world country, especially America, and you think you know everything because you don't know shit about shit. I have started to have a terrible opinion about Americans because they live in a bubble that they think that in every country there is SSI. In every country sex crimes are punishable. In every country, your mommy and your daddy and the government are going to provide for you. And now with what's going on, they are upset for the first time in their lives. While what happens in America now, and it's a crisis, it's everyday life in places like Israel, for example, or Africa. So if you can't help, that's fine. No one is asking you to be powerful or strong or empathic enough to help. But I can ask you to not contaminate my comment section with your low IQ bullshit. Let me know better that if someone approaches me and asks for advice, if I'm going to tell them to do or not do sex work. I'm not the type of person that I'm never, ever, ever going to tell you that, oh, I love this work, all of my fans are amazing, I do my own hours. I've spoken about the realities of it way more than probably 99% of the people in this scene. But I will tell you that when I encourage someone, it's because we have talked about it and it is the best choice for them at the time. You'll never see me telling someone go to sex work to buy designer bags, or to just go on a spa, or to just get a sugar daddy because you're too lazy and you don't want to work. I don't do such stuff. So comments like that are going to be blocked because you don't deserve a voice. I work hard to have a voice and I'm not going to give you a free voice or a free platform. And if you think that's unfair, well, like I said, in the real world, nobodies don't have a voice, and this channel represents the real world. Opinions were opposite of mine, but they are well written. They don't have racial slurs, they don't have sexist slurs, and they actually have arguments are very welcome and always will be and allowed. I'm a 2-inch alpha and you're just a dirty whore and go die. The only dirty whore in this equation was your mother, that she didn't have this plan B that she needed to have, and here you are. Okay. So to summarize this, because I start to get out of topic. Step number 1, you accept there is a problem, aka abuse. Step number two, you educate yourself on whatever is going on in your life, and you journal, and you read the journal, and you start owning your own story, because many times we're in such a survival mode that we don't have time to see what's going on and what's happening to us. I look at my life when I was living with my mother and I'm thinking like, dude, how did you survive X, Y, Z and you didn't die? Like, by accident. I could have been dead many times with your bullshit. Step number three, you allow yourself to get angry and feel any emotion that comes up, and emotions don't come up gradually, and it's not a linear process. One day maybe you are angry, the next day you can be depressed again, the third day you're insane, the fourth day you're paranoid. It's fine. It's normal, you're healing. You just endure and ignore if you have to, if it becomes overwhelming. And then you become petty. And by petty, if you want to keep one thing out of this video, this is it. You have to pay people back with what they did to you. Revenge, not in a sense of going out to sadistically harm someone, or if you want to do that, I'm not going to tell you to not do it, but I'm telling you that it's not the first goal. But reclaiming your identity and becoming a person that you want to be, and not a person that others want you to be because it's convenient for them. And there are people who ask me, there was someone who asked me, what if you can't become a digital nomad? What if you fail? They said, I'm not going to fail because I'm never going to stop trying. Even if I'm 80 years old, I'm going to try to be a digital nomad, because never, ever, ever I'm going to accept that I'm going to be stuck in one town, stuck in one place with the same 5 bitches around me, nagging non-stop that a woman should be in one place, a woman should be married to one guy, she should cook for her parents and obey, and do everything she's told because her brain is unnecessary and we're here to think for her. I could be 90 on my deathbed and get out with a cane to be a digital nomad. So that's your mentality. Doesn't matter how long it's going to take. And if you want to twist the knife, and if you want to hurt someone who hurt you, aka a narcissist usually, I would say, find out what they want the most, steal it, break it, get a better one for yourself. Either choice is fine. Your mother values money. Take her money. Usually, I'm not saying scam her for money, but if you are in a narcissistic family, you will see that there are people stealing money from you, so take that back. Cause financial problems for her if she's letting go for you. I'm telling you, I have yet to see a narcissistic family that is not financial abuse going, so fuck that up for them. Or become successful and rich, which is the healthiest, and be a decent person, and cut them off, or limit them, or put them on a leash. A lot of people are asking me, why are you low contact with your parents and you're not no contact? Because I don't have to be no contact. It's more satisfying to be low contact actually for me, because every time my parents try to bring up something, I'm telling you, well, it's up to you. You don't have to talk to me if you don't want to, or you don't have to agree with my opinion. And I'm truly calm. And they hate it, especially my mother. She was bitching and she was talking about the fact that I don't have the government public servant job that she wanted me to have, although all public servants here are one step before begging on the street. And I told her, well, I'm really sorry that disappointed you, I guess. It's good that I'm not financially dependent on you, right? If you need money though, you can tell me. She hated that. They just want you on the ground. Broke, desperate, obese, alone on the ground. That's what 99.9% of abusers want. The small percent that doesn't want that, they want you dead. Okay, so I'm sorry if all of this sounds scary or upsetting. It's necessary to know that your depression is not the problem, your abuses. If you want to discuss more about it or anything else, my OnlyFans is open. You can just drop by, and there are people who told me I don't want to watch porn. You don't have to watch anything you don't want to. There is a chat section. You can just chat about whatever it is you want to chat. Okay, thank you for watching.